Okay.
And you know, I've used that line because of you.
Nay. That's not always the case. When you go for a day of boating, I can see you're from the cottage.
That's right.
There he is.
Hi, I'm Tim Somerville.
And I'm Michael Dempsey, and this is Off the Market with Team Somerville.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We got another great episode for you today. We got some great topics. We're going to be talking about
Well, talking about cottages.
cottages. That's right. And actually, it's that time of year. We're starting to see some of them hit the market. I mean, you yourself, you just listed one.
Oh, yes, I did. And we'll have multiple offers on that one. Well priced. And a lot of times they come furnished. This one has deeded access to the Washtenamoik Lake. So let's start right there. You probably know this answer, so I'll put it out there to everybody. The great system that we have out there, the water system, has 5 great water systems. Name them.
Name the 5 water systems. Are you talking about?
They tie into one another. It's great if you've got a boat. You can go from one to the other to the other. In fact, from these, you could actually get to the ocean, but you'd need a pretty good-sized boat to get through those reversing falls. And believe me, we've seen people try, but that's another story. So
Are you thinking St. John River?
St. John River.
Cases.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Where am I?
Well, there's the Belle Isle Bay.
Belle Isle Bay.
Yeah.
And we've got the Washtenamoik. And the biggest one in all of New Brunswick. Grand Lake.
I'm trying to think. I was like, Lake Utopia is second.
Lake Utopia is the second largest lake in New Brunswick, and
That's a good point. So can you, if you're on the Grand Lake, can you get off of it?
All of them. Well, you can go Grand Lake to Washtenamoik, down to the bay, and the bay, the St. John River right there, and of course, from the St. John River, you can go anywhere.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's fantastic. Fantastic. Looking forward to cottage season.
The more you know.
Well, yes. So with cottages, the do's and don'ts of cottages. Okay. It's great to own a cottage. Keep in mind when you sell a cottage, there can be some caveats. Number one is the fact that when you do sell a cottage, because it's not your primary residence, of course, yes, there are taxes, but there could be capital gains as well.
It was a big cottage, yeah.
Well, if it's any cottage, if you sell it, for a substantial amount more than what you bought it for, where it's not your primary residence, it will be considered a taxable item. And as you probably know, the good old government has mentioned that every real estate transaction is supposed to be noted on your income tax return. So again, it is supposed to be there, and not only that, where it's not your primary residence. Hard to get around that one too. Some people say, well, we'll will it to our daughter and son. That's fine, but they still have to put a value of the cottage before that happens, and there's still taxable, situations on that. Now, the other thing is, if you do own a cottage, many people will use it as an Airbnb.
That's true.
We've had them.
Yeah.
And so when they sell an Airbnb, because an Airbnb HST has been applicable, it means that the sale of the cottage is subject to HST. So now all of a sudden, there's a 15% increase that somebody has to pay. And most people buying a cottage are not going to just buy it as an Airbnb. So that's a hard pill to swallow.
It really is.
Yeah, Now the do's and don'ts. Well, yes, it's great to be on the water, but back about 2018, 2019, those cottages became boats.
Yes. Shout out to all the poor people in Dempsey, Cambridge Narrows.
Yeah, there were cottages that were floating down the river.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you have to make sure that, again, not only the 50-year floodplain, but you should be looking at the 100-year. But really what happened in 2018, 2019, there were concerns on why that occurred the way it did. I don't see it happening again. We talk about global warming, this, that, everything else, but you should make sure that you've looked at some form of floodplain to make sure that the cottage has not been affected. Because if you are financing, a lot of institutions will not touch it if it is within those floodplains.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You have anything else you want to say about cottages? I have all odds.
Oh, we've got lots. I've seen, after the mayhem of some of these events, like 2014, 2018, a lot of people have taken their cottage and literally just put it on stilts.
Yes.
Literally like 8 feet higher.
That's right. They've wrestled.
Visually, it's not that appealing,
No,
but it works for me.
it does 100%. I mean, you have to remember that there are only certain items that insurance will cover, and
That's right.
many of these cottages were non-insurable based on the flooding.
Yeah.
So very important to do what you have to do to make sure that again you wouldn't have to worry about the same situation that occurred. Well, believe it or not, less than 10 years ago. Now, the do's and don'ts of cottages. Also, make sure that you know the neighboring area. It may sound crazy, but there are areas that you want to make sure that you're not going to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there's security. So it is nice if you're in an area where there are year-round properties as well. And if you get to know them and they get to know you, they're another set of eyes and ears watching and listening while you're not at the camp or cottage. Many of these camps and cottages, again, people will have gates, they'll have this, they'll have that. But let's just say that there have been many different instances that have occurred.
Oh, these are great tips for the listeners. And if you're close to your basic amenities, like when you think cottage, you're thinking I want some privacy, I'll try away and all that stuff, but you don't want to be too secluded.
Right.
So if you're close to a high traffic, maybe it's a back road or something like that, and there was an incident, well, someone's going to see something, someone's going to say something. We've got a lot of smaller fire departments in these little villages, volunteer firefighters, things like that. So,
Right.
no, that's a good tip.
Off grid. Many people are looking at off grid, but you cannot finance an off grid cottage.
No.
So, another, I guess you could say, caveat. Yes, you want to do your best to not be on, the whole plane of electricity, this, that, and everything else, which I think is fantastic. All the power to you. Maybe not for my wife, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But you have to understand there still are caveats when you're looking at that. And everybody will have their own, I guess you could say, niche on what they really want.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to go out and buy a 500, 600, $700,000 cottage, which is nice because I'll put this right into a segue for real estate. We actually sell many homes that act as a cottage and a house all in one.
Chalet style.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of
Oh,
different.
yeah. We just listed one in Grand Bay, Westville. It's right on the St. John River, over 100 feet right on the river, nice beach. And again, if you own that home, you really don't need a cottage and a house. You can have the best of both worlds under one roof. And again, it's nice to only have to mow one lawn. It's nice to,
Yeah, sure.
So if you are looking for a recreational property, we're there. We can help. We would love for you to understand that when you look at a recreational property as well, when it comes to the water sources around it, there really are three types. You have your ocean, which is great. The sound of the ocean, my favorite sound in the whole world. Can't do much in the ocean, but again, you can sea kayak and again, enjoy. You also have your lake river system that we talked about earlier, which is great. It's a body of water that you can usually go from one to another and truly enjoy a day of boating, even longer if you want to. But again, you're not really confined to one area. And then you have your last one, and that's those small lakes that, again, really don't go anywhere.
No.
Lake Etopia, great spot,
Yeah.
big, but
Huge.
but you're not going anywhere. So when you're on the lake, that's where you're going.
When you go for a day of boating, I can see you're from the cottage.
That's right.
There he
yeah.
is.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. When we look at where I am, the Belle Isle Bay, if I wanted to head to Fredericton
Yep.
or go anywhere for that matter, chances are you can get there. So
There's plenty of times he's looked at his crew and said, "You want to go to the Evandale? We go up, we get something to eat."
that's right.
It's a great. Do they still have the ice cream bar going, or
They shut that down.
they shut it down? There's an also year. I them 2 years that we go visit them. But yeah, that was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always nice to support local, and
Yeah.
no better way in the summer than on a boat, and again, very privileged that way.
Yeah.
So now we've talked about cottage. Let's go into something for you.
Okay.
Give me a topic.
Sure. Well, I was thinking earlier about home staging.
Sure.
So whether it's a cottage or your home or whatever you're getting ready for, some basic tips to keep in mind when you're staging your home. And again, we always say, like when Tim and I come into your home, we say, less is more.
Less is more.
Well, what the heck does that mean? In basic terms, if there was some way we could show the buyer that you don't actually live there, that would be great.
Yeah.
But that's not possible. So we would encourage that if there are some personal photos and things like that, maybe that you can put away, off the coffee table or this or that. That certainly helps because it helps the potential buyer see them, this is their home.
Instead of them thinking it's your home.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you still have to live in your home, but if that is an option or an opportunity, great. Clear off the countertops. We got a lot of great kitchen appliances that we use. Recently, actually last year, I finally broke down, got an air fryer.
Well, cool.
Those things are great. Uh, but I mean, you have, I'm thinking of countertop. You got an air fryer that you might, can be put away. Maybe a coffee maker that you don't use all the time. That
Utilize your corners, though.
yeah,
Utilize your
yeah.
corners.
Put your fancy, what do they call it? Mixers, KitchenAid mixers in the corner. They come in different colors.
Toaster oven, maybe, or this and that.
Absolutely. A big one, and you're going to laugh when I say this, is ensure you have light bulbs throughout the home.
Oh, yes.
And preferably the same color.
Serene. You got it. We see it all the time. There'll be a light fixture with 6 lights, and 2 of them are one color, 3 of them are one, and then you get another one. And it's like, okay, this is one fixture with 3 types of hues. So try to make sure that the lights.
That mix of warm and then those bright bright whites that are like, I don't know, makeup mirrors or something.
Yeah, we still see some of those CFL lights.
Those absolutely. There's still quite a bit.
Yeah, I know.
Again, less is more, and anything that you can do to help the home feel warm and cozy. So if you do have a wood stove as a secondary heat source or something like that, if there's an opportunity for you to throw a log in there, great.
Yes.
If it's we're representing you and we're showing your home and you say, I don't mind you throw a small log on, we'll do it for you.
We try to make sure that any of your features that can stand out are being exposed. And an electric fireplace doesn't have to have the heat on this summer. The wood stove is a good example. Making sure the heat is up. We've talked about that before. The heat is up. We also say that each room has a centerpiece, and it could be a fireplace. It could be a picture window. It could be, believe it or not, a part of your kitchen cabinetry, which shows your stainless steel fridge when you walk in. But you need to step outside of the realm and look at your home in every corner. So when you walk into your living room, stand in each corner and try to figure out the angle and I guess you could say, the view that you feel is best, and focus on that.
Yeah. One thing that stood out to me was I was doing a little bit of research on some extra tips to pass along. And they said if you have furniture up against the wall, move it out an inch. And it just helps shape and form the room a little bit better. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Now, one that I kind of laughed at is if you're a fruit fanatic, a fruit bowl. Having a fruit bowl, running with islands or different things like that. It adds a pop of color. Exactly. Adds a pop of color. Really helps highlight the home.
And this time of year, even plants.
Yes.
Right? You look at some of the plants that are out there and so forth, just to add some life to the house. It's very important.
Absolutely. And again, like I said, we know you have to live in the home. And we're still in that market that we're kind of listing homes. There's still a lot of buyers out there. So we are, in most cases, still holding offers for a set amount of days. And I always say, what do I say? I say, 1 week of pain for your long-term gain.
That's right.
So 1 week of crazy showings, keep your house as, clean as you possibly can.
And I've used that line because of you a few times. We'll get into a listing and we try to explain to people that our goal is within the first 7 to 10 days is to have multiple offers. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen. Our market is cyclical, will change from time to time. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had one East St. John that within our time frame to present offers, we had no showings. None. We hadn't changed the price yet. And all of a sudden, within the next week, we had 3 showings. With all 3 showings, all 3 road offers. We presented all 3 offers and we were still able to get a reasonable price for the home with the right conditions and right closing date. And the lady that owns that home was quite pleased, especially after going through that first week and being quite discouraged. So understand that, again, that short-term.
And I'll point out, when we realized there wasn't any showings in those first several days, Tim sat down and he said, okay, what can we change? And we noticed there were some few pictures we could change. We could highlight a few extra things, different angles, this and that. And just doing that,
That's right.
made a world of difference.
That's right. And it's important. It's important to note that with us, the team is there. And as we go through that process, especially the first couple weeks, we are doing our best. We don't always have full control of the market. And we were very fortunate that, again, the market started to open up again. Another reason why we're talking about cottages, because again, we know that people are going to start looking for cottages now so that when they do close, they can enjoy them for the whole summer.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Spring look, they're looking in the spring, they'll buy early summer, and bang, they'll have it for the full summer and fall. And why not?
Absolutely. I like how you did that full circle back to cottages.
right.
I thought there's a few more things to pass on. You had mentioned, your wife, lovely woman, doesn't like.
Wait, I love the woman, okay?
No, she's a lovely.
Yeah, okay. That's it's just watch what you're saying here.
We all love her.
Watch yourself. What was he gonna say? You thought of cottages. So
Very lovely woman. She doesn't like to rough it, and a lot of you may not, want to rough it as well. The reason I bring this up,
why?
when you're looking at certain cottages,
Yes.
you're thinking, well, I probably have at least a drilled well, a septic system. Nay. That's not always the case. Nay. Is that, I don't know if that's the proper English. My apologies. But, you need to realize that aside from having a drilled well and a nice septic system, if you are on the water, you may be restricted to holding tanks.
Right.
You usually have a good water source.
You can.
But when it does come to your sewage, you're looking at holding tanks and having the right size to accommodate you and the family. And you realize you got to get it pumped at least probably every season just to stay on top of it. These are things that will help remind you of, inform you of through the buying process. But I thought I'd bring it up.
Well, you bringing that up brings up what I can recall as one of those memorable stories of being a realtor. Early in my career, there was another realtor that listed a cottage, and it said that it had a half bath. Now, in my eyes, a half bath would mean toilet and sink.
Yes.
We have half and full, and usually with a full, it means shower, of course, or tub. But at the end of the day, half bath. So I set up an appointment and I get out there, and it was on McCutcheon Wharf Road. So it was on the Belle Isle Bay. And I'll never forget this. I get out there, and the half bath was a porta potty.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so I had words with that realtor afterwards. And that is because the fact we understand, like the one that we just listed, we have people already that are looking at driving from Ontario to come down and look at it. We have to know that the information that we're providing on that listing document is going to make other people make decisions on whether or not they want to either buy it, consider it, or even offer it to even friends and family. So we need to make sure that the information is correct. And you're right, well and septic, when you're buying a cottage, that well could be shared, it could be a well, the septic could be an oil drum, it could be whatever. But those are the two biggest, usually the two biggest concerns when buying a cottage is your water source and, of course, your cottage. Now, I will say, and I've said it when we were talking about water beforehand, if you're close to the water, I always recommend a high end or a full water test. The potability test is great. Don't get me wrong. It does E. coli and coliform. But when you do the full test, it's going to check for minerals, elements and minerals. And when you're close to any water source, it's just nice to have. So something to keep in mind if you're near a farm, again, if you're near any water source, you may want to consider doing the full water test instead of just the potability for E. coli and coliform.
Yeah. Only a little bit more than a regular potability test, but
$100 more.
Yeah. Gives you a true sense of mind.
Oh, 100%. And again, there's always ways to solve it. And again, even if it is potable, but there are items in it, most cottages you'll find they'll have of course, the water. Bring in your water, do this, do whatever.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that when you do look at the cottages that we offer, they're a real range. Keep in mind that if your budget does not allow it, then Michael and I and the team would also say that another option is finding a piece of land.
Sure.
And if you can find a piece of land, again, you can bring your RV or maybe have a trailer for now, and then you can build on it at some point. They're not making any more of the land, and they're definitely not making any more waterfront. So if that is what you are looking for and you know where you want to look, Michael and I would love the opportunity to try to find you a piece of land to even consider.
Well said.
Yeah. So off the market. Let's go off the market.
Sure.
You have anything else for me off the market that you can throw my way? Or are you tongue tied today? Because I can.
No, no.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to bring up was, we are slowly getting into the better weather.
Yes, we
And a lot of us are trying to get out of that hibernation
That's right.
stage. And so we're starting to think ahead of activities.
Right.
And so, we were talking about trying to bike more
Right.
and things like that. So I think we should talk about like some great parks
Yes.
and things like that you can start thinking about and get out to now that hopefully in your area, at least, the snow is starting to melt.
Well, and before we started the podcast, we were saying again about some of the parks that we have. New Brunswick is just filled with parks. I mean, you think about how much forestry that New Brunswick offers. I think it's 91 or 92% forested. So when we look at some of the parks, yes, we can talk about the big ones. The Fundy Trail is fantastic.
Yes.
The Irving Nature Park in St. John is fantastic. But there are others. Sussex has one. It's called the Bluffs.
Yep.
Have you walked the Bluffs?
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
Huge hiking spot.
Yes, my goodness, walk up there, and especially in the fall time. I know we're coming into spring, but the fall with the changing of the leaves, the Bluffs is just amazing. And they're
At your calendar.
yes, please do. And one thing we will say is that there are a lot of, again, gems that are out there. A lot of people will walk the snowmobile and side-by-side trails. And again, they do go for quite a distance, but there are trails all throughout New Brunswick. And one thing I know is that when we look at bigger cities to what we offer, St. John offers, again, we are a great small urban city that offers everything from recreation to occupation to, of course, affordable housing. Yeah.
And if you don't mind driving up the highway just a little bit past us, go check out the Hopewell Rocks.
Hopewell Rock.
Now, right, I joke all the time about how they got to change our Medicare card now
Oh, yes.
because we've lost
Yes, we did.
one of the rocks.
Yes.
And so, like, when that happened, tourism boosted up that area because everyone's like, "What? The rock fell? I got to go see for myself."
That's right.
So it is a neat sight to see. And if the tide's in, you kayak.
That's right.
Tide's out,
Well, speaking about the tide, my favorite spot to go, and I've mentioned it before, is a place called P Point. P Point is a parcel of land that's owned, I believe, from Connors Brothers. Connors Brothers has this long path. I think it's 1.6 or 1.7 kilometers. It's near the Grand Manan Ferry, so where you would get on there. And you walk down, and the beach down there is known as Sea Glass Beach because there's so much sea glass.
Yeah.
But when the tide is out, you can actually walk across to the island, and there's a lighthouse over there and the trails, and it's quite fun. It's quite unique. It's a good little trek. In the fall, there's late summer, early fall, you've got your blueberries and everything else right there that you can pick as you're walking. But my favorite place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, let's go back into real estate real quickly. One thing I do want to ask, when we talk about our market right now, and we know that we're listing to selling close to 100%, right? What do we tell those clients that are not getting 100%?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a lot of factors coming into play.
Right.
So it could be location, could be
Price.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Could be.
There's no easy way to say it.
That's right. But I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah.
Price is always the determining factor. They always said that real estate was about 3 words: location, location, location. I don't believe that. I believe that, again, when we look at our market and we look at pricing strategies and we look at what you offer, Michael and I have had the utmost opportunity to sell properties in the middle of nowhere, and so properties that we thought we would probably have forever did not last long. Comes down to pricing, and we never want anybody to give a home away or a property away, but we want them to understand that pricing strategically is very important in today's market, right?
Absolutely.
Now we try to refresh your listing in many different ways. Michael, what do you do with a lot of our listings?
When it comes to refreshing, we got to make sure we've done appropriate amount of open houses. Make sure that we're getting people in. Again, if there's photography, if there's some drone images.
So drone images,
Yeah.
right? Michael has been phenomenal at getting a lot of our drone images done for our properties. We find that we are now at that stage where many people are wanting as much information.
Yeah.
And so
that aerial view.
Oh, 100.
Here's the house.
Oh,
What's around it.
I agree.
Especially if you're relocating from another province or another community. Yeah, they just want to know what's around.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And the interest rates still hovering near 4%.
That's right. A little bit lower. We said previously last week we were talking about that, and interest rates are, depending on your bank, 3.9 ish.
Yes. And the great thing about banks are, please keep in mind, we don't want you to go to 7 different institutions, because every time when they hit, there's only so many, I guess you could say, freebies on that
Yeah.
before it starts to affect your score, your credit score. But what we want you to do is, we want you to stop and even ask us who are some of the mortgage reps that we would recommend, that we know are going to work 7 days a week, almost the same schedule that we do, so that we know that they're working on your behalf. Uh, some of the ones that we've seen, we just know that experience as a mortgage broker is so important in today's market, because we want them, that if all of a sudden there's a hiccup, we don't want them to say no. We want them to know that if there are hurdles, then we want to try to figure out how we jump over those hurdles.
These brokers have access to various banks, and like you said, if they do a hard hit to the credit score, they've got that information. So if they need to go to A lender or B vendor or lender, they already have that information. So it's not like boom, boom, boom,
Right.
constantly getting hit.
Okay.
Then you're just going down, down.
Well, I get it. I get it. So let's go off the market to finish up this podcast.
Sure. What you got?
Well, I'll tell you, it's sad. It's very sad. Baseball season starting
Oh,
very soon. We're going to see the Blue Jays, of course, and the Blue Jays have spent quite a bit of money in the off season
yeah.
to try to, I guess win just one more than they did last year. So if you're still suffering from what happened last year, let's hope that this year the Blue Jays can pull it off.
Yes. Well, you know what? That's a good. I should check in with my sister because she was just recently down there and stopped by spring camp,
Oh, really? Spring training?
spring training.
Yeah, that's it.
They also did a little side mission, did Legoland, a few other things on the go. Of course they did. Yeah. Their son is, I want to say he's 7 or 8 now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a good uncle. I know exactly how old he is. I'm a guy. We don't know that.
Says, listen, you know your daughter's name, you know your wife's name.
And birthdays.
Yeah, birthday's good. Okay, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, they are looking good, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
And they get one more win under their belt.
That's right.
Actually, they only need that one.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, it was game 7. So one thing I will say is that what was great about that was how Canada really got behind them. It was just like the Olympics. And I hate to bring up, the men's hockey team and the women's hockey team.
We're still sour.
Yeah, we're still sour. But one thing is for certain, Canadians, again, when they're together and there's something to be, celebrated, it's fantastic.
When they were in the, I almost said playoffs, but yeah, playoffs, right?
Who?
The Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah, the Blue Jays.
Oh, the Blue Jays. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were in the World Series.
World Series. Oh my God. Hey, I'm a great sport.
Yeah, we go. Anyway, that's what I'm here for.
The point I want to make is when they were playing in the World Series, anywhere you went, was Toronto memorabilia.
That's right.
Hats, T-shirts, everything. Your social media platforms, everything was go Toronto, go Toronto. And yeah,
It was great.
it's very, yeah, like you said, when we come together, we come together.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so saying that, many times Team Somerville would love to see our signs out more, so that's what we'd see is Team Somerville.
Yeah,
Somerville.
especially those new signs.
Yeah, those new signs. We have new signs.
They look very good.
Right. So as you're coming into the spring market, keep in mind that we at Team Somerville would love to help you make your next move. For Off the Market, this is Tim Somerville.
And Michael Dempsey, thanks again for joining us.